Welcome to the New Australia Head of State Debates. Tonight we have our candidates Doge and Akhenaten, who are both running for the position of Head of State. And this debate will be brought to you by the Conspiracy of the Week, Radio New Australia, and the Government of New Australia. All wonderful groups. Let's begin by going over the rules for this debate. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to answer each question. If a candidate is referenced in another candidate's answer, he or she will be given 30 seconds to respond to it. And at the end, each candidate will be given 4 minutes to outline their election platform and what they will do in office. So let's begin with our first question. The Republic is currently experiencing record levels of citizen inactivity. How do you plan to remedy this? And the answer of that question will be Doge. Yes.
That having a good small community of people, even if it's only like 5 people who use it a lot, would be better than having a lot of people. Quality citizens over quantity. Because if you have too many people, they're gonna start doing stupid shit. That's all I have to say.
All right. And Akhenaten, it is now your turn.
I think the problem is that the reason we have not been experiencing much activity is because we've not been giving people anything to do. We need to, in order to boost the meme economy, thus giving persons more to read and more motivation to post their memes in our server rather than in other servers, and therefore tempting them to discuss in our server, is that we need to sort out the Constitution and we need to have proper polls and debates and things. We need to get the government active again so that the users will care. So that is the big reason why I am pledging to push for a new constitution, get a new constitution agreed upon, and to try to push the parliament to be active to get laws done. And doing this, hopefully, we will be able to get our current user base active, and then we can advertise. And when people come in and see this community, they will either be scared away because they're normies and don't belong in our country, or they will join us in being not normies.
Uh, do I not get to respond at all? Well, I mean, isn't it not much of a debate if no one gets to respond? To like,
You're responding to the questions. I mean, if they directly
oh,
reference you,
yeah, then
that's,
I
yeah.
just think like debates usually have like 2 people talking about things.
Not in America.
Well,
Yeah,
then
this is modeled after the presidential debates.
okay, I guess. I mean, I think you should change them a little bit, but it's fine.
All
I
right.
don't see about that.
Next question. Immigration is a controversial topic in the Republic right now. What is your ideal immigration plan?
You can
And
go first.
and Akhenaten will answer this one first. We'll alternate when we do this.
Okay, for one, I think we need to update our welcome message given by Dino. Make sure all of the information is correct. Make it very clear because apparently people have very poor reading comprehension, and it has to be spelled out for them very clearly but very shortly. Um, we also need to make sure um, our requirements for joining are properly dank and not dead means. We need to make sure that all communists and feminists are weeded out. We need, to continue our, uh, you know, making sure that normies are not encouraged to come in, but we need to make sure our immigration team is responding quickly and that they're not waiting for confirmation. Uh, we should, well, we probably need to update the website, but that can come later. But anyway, I think we need to make it more accessible, but also make sure the restrictions are properly enforced and standardized.
So I. Oh, okay. So I believe the first two questions are very tied together in that I feel like, well, I believe that uh, inactivity inactivity and lack of users has to do with the very daunting immigration thing at the beginning, because most people aren't used to that stuff on Discord, like like most people don't join a server and then have to do all this stuff to just talk normally or whatever. I think if you want to have more people in the server and have more people talk in the server, you need to be a little more relaxed and allow people who are what you would deem normie join and talk, but you can discourage them, Like you don't need you can have the users discourage them instead of not letting them talk at all if we need more people talking. Uh that's what I think that having a little bit more lax immigration and weeding out people after the fact instead of before they can even talk will help with uh, both issues of immigration and lack of users. That's it. Well, I think the prime days of this nation, British nation, uh, were at the beginning with the first constitution. So I would model it after that, similarly, but not fit for like a retarded 10-year-old. More like I'd update it a bit, and I'd probably have more lax immigration. Yeah, I think so. I think that answers the question.
All right, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, and Akhenaten.
Okay, this is actually one of my main platform points, and I went over this in my propaganda video, where I and explained why I should be head of state and not a gay Jew.
I'm not gay.
Hush. Now,
Gentlemen, Doge, you'll get 30 seconds to respond to that
Right now or later?
later.
Okay.
anyway, to before I waste all my time, yes, we need a new constitution. We need to make it clear. We need to take out all loopholes, but we need to make sure it isn't long and convoluted and full of things that will never affect us. Just make it common sense, but also make it so that you can't poke holes in it. It needs to. We need to have the president. We need to outline the powers, explain what the Supreme Kangaroo Lord does. We need to have the president, parliament, and courts, but we need to make it practical. make it so that if we ever do become great, as I hope that we shall, then we can amend it so that it is more amenable to our larger population. But for now, we need to. I hate to give power to the executive, but we need to make sure that we're not constantly relying on the parliament and waiting on a bunch of inactive users. But anyway, this is something, of course, very important. We need to make sure it's greater than our former constitutions, because the first constitution was bad enough to make the second constitution look good, and the second constitution is, I think, a large reason for the inactivity of our server.
Do I get 30 seconds to
It will be additional time, and I will tell you when that additional time is up and your beginning time begins, and you may begin.
So
Actually,
first of all, I think that it is rude to slander your opponents in any situation. You know, like, I'm not gay, so that's not, like, I could say you're gay or you're Jewish, and no one has proof of anything online, so it's all words and it doesn't mean anything. Um, I'm just gonna start talking regularly about the actual stuff now, the actual question.
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, you may begin. Yeah,
Okay,
and your actual time begins right now.
so, I think that a constitution in a Discord server wouldn't serve much with random laws, and I think we should mostly focus on laws to facilitate discussion, and you don't really need a lot of laws for that. It's pretty simple. It's not like a completely. If you want a great Discord server, it's a Discord server where people come to talk and people come to discuss things. And if you want that, you're gonna have to, first of all, try to get as many different opinions as you can, even if you don't personally agree with them. And second of all, I said first of all, yeah. Second of all, you don't want to censor people. So it would particularly focus on those two things. And I think also, since you guys seem to have pretty strict immigration laws right now, I think I would help get more people in here by making that a little more lax. You, that's something.
All right. I will pull up the next question. Many nations are beginning to decriminalize and legalize recreational drug use. What is your stance on your issue, and how would you go about enforcing it? And, uh, and yeah, it is you.
So, I don't think drug use is a problem in this particular server because it's a Discord server, so no one's doing drugs. There's no proof. So we couldn't criminalize it because if someone comes in here saying, I'm doing drugs, you can't prove it, so you can't get them in trouble for it. But in real life, not on the Discord server, I won't personally ever do drugs because it's not anything I want to do. I don't believe that stuff, and I don't not personally like talking to people who do drugs that much. Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with them more. Like, if they influence me to do drugs, then I wouldn't like them. Like, if they're trying to get me to do drugs, but I feel like people, like, I strongly believe people should be allowed to do whatever they want in a reasonable, as long as it's reasonable, as long as it's not hurting anyone. So if a drug has a possibility of hurting someone, like makes someone do things they wouldn't do otherwise, and violent. Oh shit, that was an accident. Sorry about that. If they were violent or anything while doing the drug, I would say it's bad. But other than that, if it just makes them feel pleasurable or whatever, that's their thing. You know, they can do what they want as long as it's not hurting anyone else. Um, I'm done.
All right. And for you, Akhenaten, hold on, let me reset the timer. Begin.
Yes. Obviously, I think that other nations can do what they want. It's national sovereignty. I don't have any strong opinions about this, whether or not it should be legal or illegal. I just don't really care. But I do think that it is rather evident that drugs have given us some of the greatest memes that the fact that we call memes dank to praise them shows that drugs can have a positive influence on the meme economy. There are many memes about drugs, though some of those stem from the fact that it's illegal. I guess I would say whatever the people want, but I would say just basically don't do anything that violates your nation's laws on our server. And apart from that, I don't really care whether what we decide of whether it's legal or illegal.
Alright. Is that all?
Yes.
Alright. We will move on to the next question. And that is, some nations have outlawed firearms, but some still allow and encourage their use. What is your stance on private ownership of firearms, and how would you go about enforcing it? And Akhenaten, it is your turn. Begin.
I think no one should be allowed to vote unless he has at least one firearm, with ammunition included, or at least is in the proximity of one. I think that firearms are very important because without them, our memes may be taken away from us at any moment. We need firearms to defend our memes. We need firearms to boost the meme economy and so on. We need them to protect ourselves. I think it is wrong to rid anyone of the ability to protect himself. And so I think it should be very encouraged for everyone to have a firearm. Perhaps we can encourage private companies to manufacture them and give them out for free. Um, Firearms for the win.
Alright. Is that all?
Pretty much, yeah. Just also, we should hunt animals a lot, so we need firearms for that. I'm done.
Alright. Let me reset the timer real quick, and we'll get to you, Doge.
I believe as long as people are using them responsibly, it's fine. But if they're going out and committing crimes with firearms, I mean, I think just be sensible. Someone's obviously going to use a firearm for something wrong, but again, I don't think that affects this Discord server much. Most Discords have a good amount of underage users. I'm gonna guess this one included. So they can't legally buy their own gun. They can use them, I believe, at in responsible places. I'm not a big expert on guns.
Yeah, Kansas does allow, in certain situations, minors to do concealed carry, which
Yeah,
is weird.
yeah, that is weird. But as long as people are being responsible, and I don't believe kids should have guns up for obvious reasons. Yeah, I think it doesn't affect this Discord server, and I don't think you can make people do stuff if it doesn't affect the server itself.
Alright, is that all?
Yeah.
Alright. Moving on to the next question. Some nations tax the income of their citizens, and others rely solely on tariffs and sales tax. What is your ideal tax system? And Doge, you will be first to answer this. Begin.
I understand some parts of taxes. I believe that social social systems like libraries, I'm pretty sure are funded by taxes. I don't know too much, but I'll admit that I'm not the most knowledgeable person. But I think certain things, taxes can actually help the majority of people, even if they don't help some of them. And that people should be charitable to other people and not be selfish. I believe that it's good sometimes, and as long as it's reasonable, and it's helping the community in some way. But if it's not helping anything, then there shouldn't be tax. Like, but I believe as long as our taxes are being used for something useful and helpful to people, uh, they're fine. And like it would just be like people donate. It's like forced donations, which sounds bad, but I understand it because you have the option to use that stuff, and they are very useful for a lot of people. Yeah, I'm done.
Alright. We'll move on to Akhenaten in a second when I reset the timer. Akhenaten, you may begin.
Yes, I think the ideal tax, no, this is an ideal, is to have no taxes at all, except on normie memes, which should be taxed 1,000% to discourage them from existing. But circumstances sometimes require us to taxes on people that we don't want to, and in that case, I think the ideal thing would be one in which you're taxed according to wealth. So wealthier people pay a higher amount, but that there should also be a full tax so that in effect they technically might pay a lower percentage, but I think it should be based on what the people agree to. So the people say tax the rich higher, and like within, of course, constitutional boundaries to prevent abuse of this, then do that. If they say no, we want everyone to be taxed the same amount, then do that. But of course, ideally, there would be no taxes except on normie memes. I'm done.
Alright. And we will be moving on to the next question. Should businesses be regulated in a strict fashion, or should they be left mostly to their own devices? And,
Brother, sorry.
9, I believe.
We're on 6 or 5.
I, honestly, I couldn't tell you. And, Akhenaten, it is your turn. Begin.
What was? I was distracted. What was the
Alright, hold
question?
on. Let me reset your time.
Could you quickly check how many?
Alright,
Yeah.
the question is, should businesses be regulated in a strict fashion, or should they be left to their own devices? You may
I
begin.
think that I think that businesses should be allowed to do whatever they want in New Australia, except to promote normie memes. Of course, production of normie memes should be strictly regulated. There should be inspectors to make sure normie memes are not being overproduced. There should be like, okay, this is the limit, the cap, and if you go over this, you get severely fined because we don't want these in our nation. Other than that, they should be able to do whatever the heck they want. It's a private business. I don't care. Um, but yeah, just make sure they're not doing too many normie memes. And that's the end.
Alright, we'll move on to Doge in just a second. Doge, you may begin.
If Akhenaten, I can't pronounce his name, is so against normie memes, he should describe and the criteria for what is considered normie.
Alright,
Well, he doesn't have to do it because I'm gonna say something
alright.
right now. Because depending on where you look, everyone has a very different definition of normie. So what's normie to one person isn't might not be normie to another person, and this could lead to censorship of certain people, which I think we can all agree is not a good thing. Yeah, I that's all I have to. That's well, and I think that businesses again, I don't. There's no actual businesses on the server, so I'm not gonna spend my time worrying about problems that don't exist. If there is a business on the server, I believe they should take their business elsewhere because they'd be they'd be selling stuff like in a retarded place, and they're not gonna make much money.
All
So
right.
other than that, yeah.
All right. We'll be switching over to Akhenaten in just a second. If you would like to respond to that.
I would.
All right. Akhenaten, you may begin.
Okay, yeah, we'd probably have a committee or something, someone appointed to help set the regulations for what is normie. But of course, normie changes from time to time. Something may be dank once, and then the normies take it and overuse it and overuse it and overuse it because it's so low effort that they can just co-opt it. But I would say, just if you need me to define what a normie meme is, you're probably a normie because it's not something that can be defined.
All right. Akhenaten, your time is up, and
feel like
Doge,
I can respond
Doge,
to
yeah,
that.
yeah, you get a chance to respond to that.
I do not agree with you because I could say a lot of the things you say are normie because in my opinion they are. But you might not agree with that because I come from a different, I look at my stuff differently than you, and I'm in different areas than you on the internet. So I might have seen something like if I were to say what's normie, the I don't know what their name is, but the other person in the call would say it immediately, whatever their name is. That's not me or you. Me, the other candidate,
All right.
that is.
Doge, your time is up.
Yeah.
All right. We will be now moving on to the next question, and that is net neutrality has been a hot topic recently. How should internet service providers and cellular carriers be regulated? And I believe, yeah, Doge, you're going first this time. So you may begin.
I believe that things should benefit the people before the self, I guess. So basically, I believe that businesses bit whoa, that was horrible pronunciation. Businesses should try benefiting the consumer before profits, and that net neutrality doesn't go for that. Like it's not helpful with that stuff. It's gonna make it so it's primarily about profits and not people. And I think that what everyone should strive for is the good of everyone, and not just the good of themselves. Yeah, okay.
All right. We will be moving on to Akhenaten in just a moment. Akhenaten, you may begin.
Yes. As I stated before, I think there should in general be no regulations, but I do want to add the qualification here. This especially for internet providers. In general, do whatever you want. But if they are censoring dank memes, uh, I think there should be consequences. They shouldn't be allowed to say, no, you can't post this meme. But we need to make sure that the right to keep and bear memes is not infringed either by the government or by any private citizen. You should be allowed to post whatever you memes you want. Despite what certain people have said about me and saying that I want to censor people being normie, I'm not saying we should censor them. I'm saying we should discourage them, and there's a difference. And so regulating them is not the same as censoring them. And so if you're censoring them, you should have consequences. I'm done.
Um, I think that obviously referenced what I said, so I think that you have the right to talk.
I agree. I will reset the
Um,
timer real quick. Hold on.
Again, what I
Hold
mean,
on.
okay. Could I just talk and you could count? It doesn't matter.
All right. There you go.
Uh, what I said and what you I guess misunderstood was regulating could a leads to censorship a lot and could easily be used to censor people. Also, um, what's it called? Uh, what what would you consider a meme? Because what someone considers a meme, someone else wouldn't consider a meme.
Alright, time is almost
censoring
up.
anything could be technically censoring a meme.
Time is now up. So, you asked
And
Akhenaten something, so Akhenaten will get 30 seconds to respond. Begin.
Well, a meme, it originally it's a sort of a cultural inside joke, but it of course is primarily image macro. But a meme, I think we all feel in our soul what a meme is. A meme is something we all get, even when it makes no sense. We all understand it,
Like
even when
Markiplier E.
even when it's the point of it is that it can't be understood. We just know what a meme is. But yeah, we'd have a committee set up to
Alright,
define what a meme
alright,
is.
time is up.
I think he said we, and I'm part of we.
Alright, well,
5 minutes.
we need to move on.
No, we have time. I think this is the point of the debate. Is
Alright, alright. I'll give you 30 seconds to respond.
um when you say we, a lot of people consider one thing a meme that someone else, if like it's not known to you, there's a lot of niche inside communities with memes of their own. So if a meme isn't known to you, how do you know it's a meme? You know, so yeah, you may not know something's a meme, but it is, and then someone might say it's normie, or someone could say this or that about it, and it could get
Alright, time.
yeah, you could. I mean, that's basically the gist of it.
Alright, Akhenaten, you have 30 seconds to reply.
I mean, this is, of course, we're going to have to make sure we don't censor dank memes, calling them normie memes. But I mean, if everyone is involved, and we're getting questions to get everyone involved in figuring out what the committee should call, how they should define, I don't think it'll be a problem. And I see the rest of my time.
Alright,
I agree with them, and just gonna say that.
alright. We will now be moving on to the next question.
How many more are left?
One more.
Okay. Like one after this, or one including this?
One including this. This is the last question. If you were to establish a national internet radio station, what programs and or music would be on it? And I believe that Akhenaten went first last time, so Doge, it is your turn. Begin.
Well, you guys have that conspiracy thing. That would obviously be on it. I guess we would, if someone like put out like programs they wanted to have on it, they would be put up for like to see if anyone would listen to it, and what music would be on it. Yeah, I think I have some good taste in music, and I can show you guys some good tunes, and I can play some stuff.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, let me reset the timer, and Akhenaten, hold on a second, and I will get to you. Begin.
Well, the short answer is the dankest. To go more in depth, we'd have, if we could get the rights, I would love to be playing things from Alex Jones, peace be upon him. We would have all sorts of meme songs. We'd have songs by request. You could request. We'd have programs like this. Maybe have people debate this, because new Australian values are important. We need to debate, figure out where we're going. We talk about our conspiracy theories. We perhaps host artists who we think deserve our support. It would be a community radio station. We'd give the people what they need and what they want. And I see the rest of my time.
Alright, we will now be moving on to the 4-minute campaign platform. So, where is that? At the bottom. Okay, so each person will be given 4 minutes to describe their party campaign platform, what they're going to do in office, and whatever they want to get across that they may not have gotten across during the debate. So, Akhenaten, you have... Hold on a second. Holy shit. tons of Snapchats. Akhenaten, you have 4 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much. I thank the Supreme King of Lord, glory be to him, for hosting this. I don't know. Why should I be head of state rather than the gay Jew? The answer is that I'm more qualified and simply have better ideas because he left for a long time and has now come in expecting to be handed the head of state office, despite no one knowing how trustworthy he is or what sort of person he is because he's been gone so long. We know that he used to hold office and he was terrible in it. He was at one point the the deputy prime minister under young Daggerdick, and he did not even know he was supposed to be Speaker of the Parliament, which meant that Parliament was in shambles, which even more shambles than it already was. He did nothing to get it under wraps. He initially said he didn't even want to run for head of state. This time he wanted to just be the vice guy because he doesn't actually want to do anything. Now it seems that he's simply invented these ideas as you're asking questions. Whereas I have made my campaign promises very clear. I want to declare war on Japan for delaying the Supreme King Lord, glory be to him, in this debate, which is clearly an act of war, and they should be punished. We should nuke China and North Korea for being communist and giving us crappy products. We need to have a constitution that spells everything out, and we need to have the people involved. We need to get this done quickly so that we are not under tyranny. We need to get legislation passed to revoke the citizenship of feminists and communists, not necessarily boot them out, but revoke their citizenship. We need to make our immigration policy more clear. We need to have our voting requirements more strict. As I mentioned, I think that you should have access to a firearm if you want to vote. There are I actually have held office. I was Speaker of Parliament, and I did my best to bring order to it. In fact, I was reelected as Speaker at least once, maybe twice. They wanted me to be Speaker of the House. I have been Minister of Defense and Foreign Affairs, during which time I have engaged in, when necessary, foreign civil wars for the locals. And I have dealt with ambassadors, giving them embassies. I have of course, you can see in the chat that I have viewed candidates for citizenship, and when it was not when I was unsure, I defected to my superior saying, you handle this, but when it was obvious, I dealt with it as quickly as we could. I am simply the obvious choice. To vote for me is a vote for New Australia because Doge opposes our values. In fact, when he started running, first he said he wanted to be an anarcho-communist. He didn't know what it meant, but we know that communism is against New Australian principles. Then he said anarcho-fascism, and anarcho-fascism, he's running in the anarcho-fascist party, and that it says that capitalism is bad because it leads to communism, and capitalism is a founding principle of ours. He doesn't even know what he stands for. He's just making it up. And both times he has managed to get not only contradictory ideologies, but ideologies that are against New Australian values. Do not vote for him, or he will destroy us with his incompetence. And I see the rest of my time.
All right. Just a second. Let me get the timer reset.
Could I just start?
Yeah, you can just start talking. All right,
Okay.
begin.
So, I've also been reelected multiple times. So, and also, I know I may not have. Well, most my party things were a joke. I was just bored, and I'm running now because I think it'd be interesting. Because I think that my ideas they may not have New Australian values as you say, but they're more realistic, and they would actually help the server get more active users instead of doing stupid stuff like nuking China, which we don't have the ability to do. I'm not here wasting my time nuking things that we don't even have nuclear bombs. I want to make this place a good place for everyone, and a good place to have discussions about stuff, and not just like what it is now, where barely anyone talks on it. Like there were not there were 20-ish messages, not including mine, today since 6:17 p.m. today and yesterday. That's almost a whole 24-hour gap without messages on the server in the general chat. If you want a active server, you need to do stuff for your users and not for random people who don't exist. So like nuking China isn't gonna help anyone on the server. It's just you abusing your power. Again, I think that I would help the server uh, get more users, be more reasonable, and what's it called? Especially with wait, what was I gonna say? I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. I just mean like, I think that you're being unreasonable, and you don't understand. If you like memes, running as an arco-fascist is one of the like fucking stupidest things you can do. Because that's what I think. I think that I'm gonna try to make the server a place for everyone instead of nuking China. I can see the rest of my time. And I think he can respond to what I have to say if that's okay.
I don't see why not. I'll give Akhenaten. Uh,
A minute, I think. Could be.
I'll put 90 seconds on the clock.
Okay. Yes, we
So
don't
so
have nukes.
all right, begin.
We don't have nukes yet, but I'm going to build up our nuclear arsenal, and I'm going to announce to the community, the global Discord community, that China has been nuked. It will be gone, and we will not have their crappy products anymore. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's just for the memes, and it is a meme consistent with New Australian values. It is not a random anti New Australian meme. It is a pro New Australian meme, something that we can all get behind. The destruction of communism and crappy products and child labor at once and for all. It is the end of the enemy. It is the ultimate meme, and it is necessary. And yes, of course, we're going to promote discussion, but we can't promote discussion if you have nothing to discuss. But I will give this lots to discuss. We will reminisce about how terrible China was and glorify its destruction once we have the capability. And of course, I have already laid out some of the changes I want to implement and how they will help defend New Australian values, because I believe in conserving our values, not abandoning them. And I see the rest of my time.
All right.
I don't. I'm gonna go now. I don't. I'm not saying to abandon them. I'm just saying to be more reasonable. Obviously, you can lie and tell people you nuked an entire country that you didn't nuke, and you have no proof you nuked it. You're just gonna say to a bunch of people that you nuked a country you didn't. Um, Again, I believe that. Well, the whole thing is, I'm pretty sure that discussion comes about like just by opposing views. So you can have people talk about politics and debate stuff, and just in general. I think that I think that a lot of things. Fuck. But I think I'm not completely opposing new Australian values. I'm just trying to be a little bit open, be a little bit more open-minded, and instead of like your original thing of banning all communists and feminists, maybe listen to them for a second, see what they have to say, and disprove them. Maybe they'll learn something instead of just banning them, because that was your original thing. And if that's not what you're doing now, then you flip sides or whatever. That's not something you want in a leader. I haven't changed anything except some labels. I'm done.
All right. I gotta say, interesting debate tonight, and would if there are people online who want to ask questions, would you be up to having a Q&A session later?
If I'm not busy.
All right. We could have a
Like we can
town.
watch
Yeah, we
we
could.
can watch 2 movies tonight, but I
I
forgot
know.
that I was doing this.
I know. This would not be tonight, but it would be like later on this week that we would have a town hall Q&A with submitted questions. Are both of you up for that?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yes,
I guess.
I should be able. I should be available, and I'm
I'm
always
never
happy
busy.
to answer questions.
All right, that's awesome. I will get around to setting all that up, and I really want to say that was an excellent debate tonight. I mean, it absolutely went past my expectations, and I think it'll be a close election. It'll be interesting to see where this all goes because I think you both have great ideas, and I think you both have
Oh,
the
you just said
potential.
that.
No, I'm dead serious. That was honestly better than I would have even imagined. So I want to thank you both, and for the new Australians watching out there, have a wonderful night or day or whenever you see this. Thank you all, and God bless New Australia.